Welcome to the details now. Today, there's more chaos on the last effective day of the computer placement for candidates seeking to enter senior high school on Monday. All fresh SHS students are required to report to work to begin registration and academic work, but more than 5% of the total of 424,000 candidates are without schools at the moment. It's mop-up time, and the placement center is racing against time to ensure that everyone gets to school. We'll take you live to the placement center shortly for responses to all of the concerns of those who've not had a place yet. But right now, let's get the situation on the ground. In Accra, Roland Walker, and in Kumasi, Erastus Asari Donko have been speaking to some stranded parents and candidates. First is Roland.
We have in excess of just a little 100,000 candidates across the country who have no senior high schools yet to be placed. They have been given some time up to the close of today to go onto the website of the computerized placement system and make sure that they choose a school of choice that have been put there, and then when they make those choices, they could go to those schools and get the admissions that are needed. But even beyond that, the others that have been placed, there are concerns that have been raised that the placement perhaps may have been misplaced, in that some of the students have been placed in schools of physically challenged people. More so, some of them have been given statuses as day students where they live far off from the place of abode or habitation. And that's a concern for many of the students and also the parents. So which school have you been allocated?
Mampong.
Mampong?
Yes.
And you know that Mampong is for the physically challenged?
Yes.
Okay. So when did you first go and check and you noticed that you've been placed at the Mampong Senior High School?
On 4th September.
You went to check?
Yes.
And you are...
And yesterday too, I went to check again. It was the same thing.
When did you first come here and trying to seek some redress to have it checked or reallocated or changed for you?
I think 5th.
So when you checked on the 4th, you came here on the 5th?
Yes.
And have you had officials speaking to you? What have they been saying?
They told me they would change. They gave me yesterday. I went, they gave me the same school.
Hello, sir. What's your name?
My name is Otabel Abdul Rashid.
Yeah. Otabel Abdul Rashid.
Yes.
Shukran. Now, tell me what your difficulty is.
Yeah, my ward was actually sent to Kumasi Amas, T.I. Amas Ahmedia Secondary School. And,
is it for physically challenged too?
No physical challenge, but she has actually been sent there on it as a day student. In actual fact, both parents are here. We don't know anybody there. So she being sent there as a day student, we don't know how we are going to actually handle the situation. That's why I'm here. I'm
thinking that T.I. Ahmedia is in where?
Kumasi.
It's a very good school, I know, because I know my history textbook I had back in there was written by a master from there. Okay. But at the end of the day, is it that they don't have boarding facilities?
They have a boarding facility.
So what do you want? You want?
I was there yesterday just to go through the admission process, and this was revealed to me that your ward has been given a day, and for that matter, he cannot be admitted here as a to lodge in the campus. I mean, in the school. So that's my concern for coming here.
Okay, so you're close to fire.
Yes.
What's your problem? What difficulty have you brought?
The problem is my child completed this year, but unfortunately when the results were released, her marks did not come. It was only yesterday that it came. But when we try to check the placement, it's like the message which comes is that you either failed maths or English or both. So we don't have access for the placement.
Okay, so do you have the results on the computer? Yes. And you are saying that the results, there was no maths?
Yes. When
you mean maths?
Initially.
Initially, but now she has maths.
Now the maths has come, she has had 1. But we are not able, the placement.
Okay, so I see that he has 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. Oh, your child is good. But you don't have a placement?
Yes.
There's no school? Which school?
She chose Ebri Girls.
She chose Ebri Girls?
Yes.
And then which other schools?
Ebri Girls, National, Hantaman, then one
big schools. But at the end of the day, there's no placement, and that's a concern.
There's no placement.
Okay. Is this your first time coming here?
This is my very first time.
And you checked just yesterday?
Yesterday.
And so now your child has the right results, the complement of all the results to be given a school?
Yes.
But before then, you may have been hearing of the difficulties that parents have been going through, etc. What have you thought as a parent about all these?
The difficulty?
Yeah, parents are going through frustrating moments, we're told. Some parents, not everybody, though.
Yeah, I think the time frame is so short. Yes, even if I want to talk about mine, from WAEC, we were told that such problems do happen, but because they have enough time, they're able to address such problems before the placement is done. But this is like, because the first years will be going to school with a continuing student, everything has to be done in a very fast manner. So that's why they could not resolve the problems of pending.
Is this the first time your child is going to senior high school?
Yes.
Okay, so you're new to it, the posting, the allocation, etc. Okay, so who were you told to come and see?
Nobody. I just came. When we tried last night, we tried over and over and over and over. We were even given a WhatsApp line. I picked a WhatsApp line on the TV, and I put my message and no response came. So I decided, throughout the night, I have not been able to sleep. So I just woke up and then...
I know you're not in this alone. It's a frustrating moment for many parents. Your name again, please.
My niece chose 4 schools which she was asked to choose, and ever since the selected placement came, we have never been given any of these opportunities. So we are here to make amends to find out if there could be any proper placement for her. That is why we are here this morning.
So have you tried the self-placement on the internet, as it has been shown?
Yes, we have tried as much as we can, and none of it has even shown on the internet. So we came here yesterday and they asked us to come this morning to find out if there will be any amends for us to find out.
So as we speak now, her name is not on any school list as we speak?
Exactly, her name is not on any list.
What were your choices, if I speak with you? What choices did you make?
Yasantua, Efiakobi, Kumaka, and Serenyaku.
But you haven't got any of them?
No.
How is this affecting you?
It's affecting us very much. She's not been sleeping at all. She's giving us headache in the house, and she's been crying because her friends have almost gotten schools of their choices, and she is the only one in the school where she hasn't gotten any of the schools. So we are here to find out. It's indeed killing.
What were you told yesterday, that it could be fixed?
Yes, that was what they told us, that today, if you come, there could be changes. And even they took a result slip and kept it here. So we are here to find out.
Thank you very much. But we have others here as well. Let's speak with them to find out what their problems are this morning. So, what's your name?
Okufo.
Why are you here today?
Oh, me too. I'm here for my niece to find a school for them, for him.
What has been the challenge?
Oh, because though I'm sorry for saying, because she chose her best choose in her education, but right now when the results came, she gave her one of school. But me too, I don't like the school, and I want to find a new school in Kumasi for her.
So, of all the 4 choices she made, she couldn't get any of them?
Yes, of course.
What were your choices?
St. Louis, Kumasi Academy, and Edusuman, and Arts for Armed Forces.
Which one did you get?
I didn't get any.
You didn't get any of them, so you have not been given a school at all?
Yes, of course.
But have you tried a self-placement on the internet?
Yes, I did.
What happened?
And I get a great concern, but I don't like the school.
Okay, so what have you been told? Have you been here earlier?
Yesterday I'm here.
Okay. What did they tell you?
I'm financing from the PRO, so I'm here to find another school to talk to a PRO. Then when she gave me a school for my niece, that is why I'm here.
Do you think this whole system is difficult for you?
Oh, normally not at all, but because everything is a pressure in the system, so as time goes on, things will be better for the education system. I don't have any problem on what is going on this situation right now in this country. I trust the government, so I know things will be better for them.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's speak to Madam here. So of all the people we are speaking with, many of them have those issues. Of all the 4 choices they made, they couldn't get any of them. Their names are not anywhere. I have spoken with others who say of all the schools they chose, the 4 choices, they couldn't get any of them. They were rather sent to a school they do not like. Good morning, Madam.
Me pacho me ha me say me ba no of 4 schools no choose you no bia wo anya bia enti ye say ye mra ha no me choose school enti me ba me menda no me betena ha na network no ko suro me tena ha me bo 7 ana me ko fie say manya ana Monday so me ba me tena ha me bo 1 ana Mr. JK ona na oye ayi wo ha wo cafe ho no no ma me de ne na yi index number no ma no say obeya ma no ntimi ko fie ti Monday Tuesday na me ba no na wa choose ko fie senior advanced school na eno no subject na o ye ne ebi ni ho o ye science o se science na ope e feeling kura ble mu na science and so science na o mu nye bi ho ti ma force akura no say home economics na ye di ama no mema na ye still ma ya akura no so onko e free anira me ye ya wa nko up to now ti me ha no.
So what she's saying is that she's been here 3 times. They've gone through the system several times. Of all the schools she chose, 4 of them, she couldn't get any of them. And now they were able to do the self-placement on the internet, and she got Kofiase Adventist School. And she says she wants to do science, but the school is not offering science. They've rather given her home economics, and the girl doesn't like home economics. Let me speak with her. What do you want to do?
Doctor.
You want to be a doctor?
Yeah.
So what grades did you get?
16.
16?
Yeah.
Okay, and what choices have you gotten so far?
Kofiase Adventist Senior High.
No, you choose.
So you don't like Kofiase?
Yeah.
Why?
They don't do that course.
Science?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to do anything aside science?
Yes.
So you've heard from Roland Walker and Erastus Asari Donko for both the Greater Accra region and the Ashanti region. Obviously, there are a few issues that have to be worked out. Well, let me bring you some figures on the qualified candidates so far and what they've had. We're looking at 424,092 students, and that's 100%. Now, the total who have been placed, that's the total without school. And of course, there are several questions or concerns that have been raised on our social media handle by the parents and guardians of those who have not had their placements yet. So let's now take you live to the placement center, the Ghana Education Service. The spokesperson for the GES, Reverend Jonathan Bette, joins me on the live from the center. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on the Pulse.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now let me find out from you, sir. It looks as if your outfit is working on the problem, but there is still more problem to be worked out. And it is even crucial now because we're looking at the time frame within which all of the students are expected to go to school. From your end, how big is the problem?
Well, I'll be very comfortable with how little is the problem because I'm aware that we've gone very far. We've gone ahead of what we expected to do. We have just a little to finish up with all the proceedings. As I'm talking to you, over 95% are through, and the few that we have to do, we are trying to see how best we can sort them out. From morning till this afternoon, few parents also came complaining about those things, but their problems were solved. And the technical officers are monitoring the system to see if there is any challenge. We will see how best we can resolve them before the timeline is over.
Help me with some figures, sir. How many people, as we speak, at this very hour, have been placed, and how many have yet to be placed? Figures, in terms of figures, please.
Well, I have already spoken about that, considering the figures, we are not stable with the figures as I'm talking to you, but I'm aware that we have about 95% of people living with the 5% to finish up the entire process.
Okay, what it then tells me is that perhaps you don't have the figures at the moment as you speak with us, but it's something that we can always come back to you for, those figures.
I'm giving you an assurance that after this, I'll get back to you with the figures, entire figures. Any moment you call me, I will do that for you.
Now let's look at the little problem, as you describe it, that's on our hand at the moment. 5% of them. If you put it in a percentage, it sounds smaller. Now, even if you look at the bigger problem that has been solved, this might sound very insignificant. But these are parents and children or young people who are very worried, whose future is at stake, if we could put it that way. So what are the practical steps that are being taken to cater for this 5%, which I envisage is still a significant amount of human beings?
Well, thank you. All right, thank you very much. I earlier on stated that we were lucky, so much lucky, that all the technical people are on board. They are at post as I'm talking to you, that dealing with girls that have been sent to boys' school, boys to deaf school, and those technical or peculiar ones, we have addressed them, and we're waiting patiently that should there be anything in that aspect, we'll be able to sort them out. Now, what we needed to know is what are the needs of the heads in the school, and what do we need to know about the resumption. School is resuming on 11th, which is Monday, and the assurance that the government has given has been fulfilled, and the headmasters and headmistresses are happy about that. When you read in the papers, their recommendations shows that they have welcomed the program, and there is no much alarm. But I just want to say that when we talk about logistics, everything is said. We've sent the books to the various schools, waiting for the students for the first time. So that's why I said we just have a minute challenge, which we are ready to overcome.
Okay. What it also means is that you've kept pushing forward the deadline for the placement. Can we have a real, as in a deadline?
Well, earlier on we stated...
Please go ahead, sir.
Well, we stated that the deadline is today, midnight of today. Should we encounter any challenge, we will come to the public and then let you know, as we've been doing regularly. You'll see the changes in the process, that anytime there is a change or there is a challenge, we come to the public to alert you, the parents, to know what is going on. Right. We don't want anybody to be in dark. The assurance is that everybody will have access to senior high school this year. Everybody will be admitted. We will not leave any stone unturned. Right. The promise will be fulfilled, and if there is any other problem that we may be facing, we will quickly address it, and everybody will be happy.
Everybody will be happy.
This year's process.
Certainly, everybody wants to be happy. In fact, the government owes us that happiness. But let me find out finally, sir, before you go, about the monies that were supposed to have been sent to the schools 2 weeks before schools reopened. You've just mentioned that books have been sent, which sounds good. Some logistics have been sent. It sounds good as well. Have they received the monies as we speak?
Well, as I speak, we have all heard that the money has been sent to schools, and the officers in charge who are expected to send the money to the various accounts are working closely. Now, by the close of today, the monies will hit the accounts of the headmasters and headmistresses. Okay. If there is any technical challenge on that aspect too, we believe that it will not be any big deal. The monies will hit the accounts. As I'm talking to you, the heads are still in a meeting at home, Maule Secondary School, and my Director General and his deputy are there to address some pertinent issues with them.
Okay.
And when they close from the meeting, whatever be the outcome, we will let the public also be aware of that one also. But there is all indication and all assurance that the money is hitting the accounts before they resume or they return from home today.
Finally, sir, if you say the money has been sent, I'm struggling to understand the challenge that the ministry or the GES had. For which reason it's taking you more than the time you said with the time frame within which you gave yourself. You said 2 weeks before academic year begins, but it's obviously less than a week to academic year starting, and they don't have the money yet, even though we are hopeful they will have it by close of day today.
Well, thank you very much. I don't want to be naive about this story. I just want to advise and say that when we are sending money to schools, it goes through process. And it's because of that process that the delay came in, right, or we have experienced the delay. And thank God that we have overcome, and the money had hit, the money had gone to where it has to go for the disbursement. So that is not a big deal. We promised 2 weeks. It has gone through process, and by this time round, we are successful with what promise we have given. So let's be appreciative.
Well, whether or not we have to be appreciative, the Ghanaians will decide, and that is why we put government there anyway. We don't need to thank you. But anyway, I'll say that you've done a good job.
Government is doing his best.
Very well. It has to. It owes us that responsibility. Sir, thank you so much for your time here on the show. Reverend Jonathan Bette speaks for the Ghana Education Service, bringing us an explanation, detailed explanation of what's going to happen. Of course, we don't have the details, but hopefully at the end of today, we will know whether or not they have had, the heads have had the money. Speaking about the money, we will be going to the Volta region, where our correspondent Maoli Agbe is still at the conference of the heads of assisted secondary schools. But let's hear from the Deputy Minister of Education, Barbara Aisi, on the finances that pertains. Deputy Minister actually of Finance, on whether or not the monies have been sent to the various schools.
September, schools will reopen. And what I have in my hand is a list of all the 646 schools with their various bank accounts. All we are doing is waiting for the Ministry of Education to tell us the various placements that they have done in these schools. Once we get to know it, we'll go ahead and then credit the accounts of all these schools. We are bent on seeing to it that it succeeds, because we believe that if you can't give, Ghanaians everything, at least something as basic as education, Ghanaians should be able to enjoy it. Let's take the politics out of it and just look at the number of people who are going to benefit from this in the end. And let's all work together to see to it that it succeeds.
What's the initial cost are we looking at in terms of the money that you're going to spend on this?
Yes, the initial cost for September to December is 486 million Ghana cedis. Already we have made 50% of that available. That's a 280 million, which we are going to disburse as soon as Ministry of Education gives us the various placement numbers for the schools. We'll go ahead and then disburse these funds. We have spoken to the banks, the various banks concerned, and we believe they will also act immediately. The monies hit the accounts and inform the various schools that they have received this amount of money.
Some will say the revenue is not doing well. Are we assured that the respective income streams or revenue streams to sustain this policy?
Yes. Yes, when it comes to education, I think we shouldn't compromise on that. When we went to Parliament and then we said we were cutting down on expenditure, we said some of the flagship programs like the free SHS would not be touched. Something like the NHS would not be touched. So we have a commitment to achieve this. And I believe that, let's take politics aside. This is social justice. It only makes Ghana a better place. If you have a workforce that are educated, a workforce that can think and do things for themselves, a workforce that will appreciate, things happening around them. It is only through education that we can do this.
So from 12 of all these disbursements to be made to their respective schools?
It will be done latest by tomorrow. Latest by tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Yes, latest by tomorrow. All we are doing is waiting for the numbers from the Ministry of Education, because the placement of schools ended yesterday. So they are now tidying things up, and then they will give us the numbers. As soon as they give us the numbers, we'll go ahead and credit the accounts. Latest by tomorrow. We assure you that the monies will be in the various accounts of these schools, all the 647 schools.
Deputy Finance Minister Abnose Asari there speaking to my colleague George Rafi. And just so you know, that interview was conducted yesterday. So now the update is that the money has been sent. What we're waiting for, by the way, is for the heads of the assisted schools to be able to confirm that indeed they've received the money. Let's go to the Volta region now. Our correspondent Mauli Evuagbe is standing by. Hello, Mauli.
Hello, Gipsy.
Mauli, what's happening with the conference of the heads of assisted secondary schools?
Yeah, the heads of the various schools are currently having their very last session for the day, after which they will release a communique. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service is also expected to speak in this last section of the conference, which is currently ongoing. We expect the Director General to speak about a number of issues that have been raised by the teachers. And so far, the discussions, as we have indicated all through, has been centered around the implementation of the free senior high school. As to the payment of the monies promised by government to the account of the various schools, the heads of the various schools are yet to see that reflect in their account. A number of them have actually been checking throughout the day to see if the money has come into their account. A lot of them are checking, calling back, calling their banks and checking if the monies have been paid into their account.
Okay.
And for most of them who have spoken to me on the condition of limiting, that most of them, because they are quite careful, because it's a government policy that they do not need to object to, even they have already they have already indicated their preparedness to support and ensure that the policy goes through.
Okay.
And so most of them are be careful what to say and what not to say.
Very well.
All that they are expecting is that the money reflects in their bank accounts by close of work today.
Okay.
And they have been anticipating that. They're quite anxious about that. And I'm sure from all the discussions so far, they're all expecting that there will be some indication at the end of this section that the monies have actually hit the accounts of the various schools.
All right. Well, hopefully very soon we'll get that information and we'll be able to relay it. Now, what we're waiting for is for that meeting to wrap up and for us to know what's in the communique. By the way, the GES here in Accra is telling us that the monies have been sent. As to whether it's reflecting, we know now it's not. So it's still, the evening is still young, I must say. Mauli, thank you very much. We'll get back to you as and when we have any new information from them. Mauli Evuagbe is our correspondent in the Volta region. Right now, it's all about the money. We're waiting for that money to hit the account, so we know that there won't be any chaos when the children when the senior high school students have to get started with their education. Whilst we wait for the senior high school, for the rather younger ones to learn, the older ones are also learning. So imagine that you are advanced in age yet cannot read and write, especially at a time when all those around you, including your children, can exhibit such skills with ease. Will you take an offer to study under such circumstances, knowing the possible stigmatization that could come along with accepting that offer? In the town of Weja in Accra, a 63-year-old woman and other adults are taking lessons with passion and least perturbed about comments that they are too old to study. JoyNews' Joseph Akable has the rest of the story.
How are you?
We are fine, thank you.
I'm also doing well. Now, today we are going to look at this.
It's a school like any other. Its classroom has a blackboard, desks for students as well as course materials.
Even I tell my son that one of my daughter that I'm come to learn, and he said that you are age that now we are. I say yes. When I sit to look after you, when you grow, finish your school. Now you two, I'm coming to collect chop money from you to come to school.
It's never too late. That's the idea motivating 63-year-old Sarah Esiri, a mother of two who wants to be able to express herself in a quaint language. Sarah and her classmates are here each day taking lessons from basic arithmetic to English rhymes.
If you calculate like 3 plus 9, why are you not going to put all the 12?
Why I didn't put all the 12 here?
Yes.
Yes.
Good is better, and my better base.
Very good.
Drum, the message afar. Learning to read and write.
It's a typical classroom situation, except these are adults. While they are at it, some of the children whose school facilities the adults are using are busy playing football on a compound. Their headmaster, Techi Kodam, explains why he decided to allow the use of the school.
And they also need the knowledge. And there's the agency looking at the people, the mothers, the fathers, the brothers and sisters who are out there so ignorant of what is happening. So there was a clear call to listen to them. I gave this facility over a year for free, nothing.
Back in the classroom, Reverend Joseph Yamwa is focused on his students. He tells me how brilliant they are.
I'm not facing problem over here at all. Actually, I'll give the student over the 80%, and I'll give these people 70%. But looking at the standard and how they get my teachings as early and then quick, I'm amazing. In fact, I'm amazing.
What could motivate an elderly person whose children are in school to want to be educated, especially at a time when they are far advanced in age?
I just want to learn that to help them. There is a time I'm not feeling happy in the house. So if I come to the class, I feel happy. And I send I have 2 kids. One is a boy and one is a girl. They are all teachers. So I tell them that I want to happy myself. So, yes.
But earlier you said that you used to attend school, but you stopped at JHS 1. Why did you stop?
Oh, my father was dead. And my father and my mother was dead. So I just stayed with some people.
But so far, how do you find the lessons here? What are you learning? Are you impressed with what you are learning?
Oh, it's fine for me. That even I tell my son that one of my daughter that I'm come to learn, and you say that you are age that now we are coming. I say yes. When I sit to look after you when you grow, finish your school. Now you two, I'm coming to collect chop money from you to come to school.
I'm happy because now even I can learn with my children now, so I'm happy for that.
Are you able to assist them with their assignments when they bring them?
Yes, even they help me too. Sometimes I help them.
The first time you told your husband you were coming over for this kind of class, what was his reaction?
Well, she was happy because my husband likes reading books, and even always she fights with me that I don't like reading books. So the moment I told him, he was happy about that because always in the evening, the time he would come from work, we were reading. I was doing my homework, the children too was doing their own, so he was happy about that.
Okay. So I guess you can read a bit of what you have in front of you first.
Okay. So, where is the bag? The bag is on the table. Where is the book? The book is on the bag. I need a pen. The pen is also inside the bag.
Very interesting one day reading bits and pieces of that passage and questions and answers in the book as well. Like you can guess, you're never too old to study, and these individuals here are taking advantage of the opportunity being offered by Engage Now Africa to receive some education, hopefully to improve upon the understanding of the language. More importantly, not just about reading and writing, but some arithmetic, which is important and an integral aspect of everyday life, for which reason they have decided to take part in this. Reporting for JoyNews from the Wager DAJHS, not the regular school, but the adult class. My name is Joseph Akable.
Yesterday is gone.
Isn't it so easy to fall in love with the first woman? Well, she's happying herself. Why don't you happy yourself as well if you feel that you need this kind of education? Go for it. Well, on the occasion of the World Literacy Day, Joseph Akablé has also engaged the country director of Engage Now Africa, Cecilia Mankwa. The non-governmental organization has been championing adult education in the sub-region.
When you lose the ability to read, write, or make use of arithmetic, it will be tough for you, I guess. How about those who don't have this ability entirely? As part of the UN's Literacy Day, they decided to pay some attention to literacy, more importantly in the digital age. And I'm here to engage Cecilia Mankwa, the country director for Engage Now Africa, to pick her thoughts on exactly what the day means for them, and more importantly, some activities that they've got lined up as part of their celebrations for this year's activity. Madam Mankwa, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
First, let's start off by talking about Engage Now Africa. We know there are many other NGOs. What kind of NGO are you, and what are you into? For which reason you decided to take an interest in this day?
Engage Now Africa is a non-profit organization whose main aim is to end poverty in Africa. We are currently in 5 African countries, which comprises of Ethiopia, Namibia, Sierra Leone, Uganda, and Ghana. And we are into 6 main initiatives. We are doing education, we are into self-support assistance, we are into medical services, we are into clean water and sanitation, we are into orphanage support and eradication of modern slavery.
In terms of the specifics, so assuming you are, for instance, in Namibia, what are you doing in terms of education?
Well, in Namibia, or in education, what we do most is to give like scholarship loans for students that are brilliant but needy to be able to further their education, and also to champion the cause of adults that are illiterate or that do not have the chance to go to school, to also have the privilege to learn how to read and write in the English language.
And so far, how has it been in terms of the impact that you expect to make? Because definitely, if any individual is undertaking any activity, one thing that you'll be doing is how eventful has it been? If it's not reaping much dividends, then it's not worthwhile engaging them. How has it been for you?
Well, the impact we want to make is to really help the adults that are illiterate to learn how to read and write, to be able to gain their self-confidence, to be able to interact with people that they deal with. Remember, most of these people that we are engaging in or trading with are adults that are business people. Some are farmers, some are traders, some are businessmen, and they would love to really know how to engage the people that probably patronize their services, so that they will be able to sell and be able to make profit and be able to do basic bookkeeping, to be able to save in the bank, be able to go to the bank and say, oh, I have this money and I want to fill the maybe the savings form to save my own money, sign my own signature, and get something out of the bank. You know, this is the basic things that we want people to know. We want them to be able to function in society.
Should we be so much concerned about people's inability to read and write, and more particularly about the fact that the focus for some time now has been on adults who cannot do that? In terms of arithmetic, I can attest to the fact that there are many people who have not gone to school, but they seem to have a good understanding of arithmetic. How serious is this something that we as a country, as a whole, we should be interested in?
I think this is very serious. As a country, we need to really move this adults that are illiterate along. Because looking at the illiteracy rate that we currently have, you might think it's low, but it will surprise you that most of these people that they even call themselves literate are struggling with communication, or be able to trade or be able to have this interaction, human interaction or relationship with others. And you can just imagine if somebody that have the basic is struggling, how much more somebody that has never had that opportunity. So we should be able to help these people come out this poverty or this stage. We noticed that most of the initiatives that I mentioned from the beginning that we take to these communities, we have most of these people that are very vulnerable because we work with the deprived communities, and they really like what you bring to them, but probably the maintenance or taking care of what you have given them is always a problem. Then we also notice that because they themselves have not been to school or stopped along the way, they are not encouraging their young ones, their children, to take their education very seriously. I would suggest, or I recommend, that government work with NGOs that are championing this cause, that together we can help to eliminate illiteracy out of the system. We should come together to collaborate so that we can reach to every community that is suffering from this problem, which is illiteracy, to be able to come out of it and be able to get everybody along.
Joseph Akabley with that interview there. And of course, literacy is a big deal if we want our country to develop. So government has stepped in. Well, it says it is introducing a project to equip adult learners with ICT skills. The Information Technology and Digital Literacy Project will help recognize the potential of adult learners and improve the non-formal education subsector. This was revealed by the Deputy Minister for Education, Barbara AC, at an event to mark International Literacy Day here in Accra.
I am pleased to announce that the Non-Formal Education Division of my ministry is currently designing an information technology and digital literacy program aimed at equipping adult learners with ICT skills as part of an accelerated literacy plan for all target groups. I thought we were going to applaud. To show that we are excited about it. The ministry is also ready to support this noble venture aimed at bridging the gap between the educated and vulnerable in society. So as a ministry, we are doing everything possible to bridge the gap between the educated, that is people who have education, and people who are vulnerable in our society. The government recognizes the immense potential of the non-formal education subsector in creating job opportunities for unemployed youth and adult non-literates in the country. And we all do everything possible within our power to ensure that adequate resources are provided to facilitate full-scale implementation.
Acting Director of the Non-Formal Education Division, Mr. Francis Asumedu, has also emphasized the impact of non-formal education on its beneficiaries. He, however, says that more work needs to be done to chalk more successes.
There are piles of evidence that the NFLP has impacted positively in the lives of beneficiaries and the target communities. Learners' mastery of the 3 R's, namely reading, writing, and arithmetic, which we usually call numeracy, has opened up scores of opportunities for them in their communities. Record keeping of learners has improved, and traders have better appreciation of business practices. There is also a greater reduction in negative practices such as child labor, self-medication, drug abuse, and eating unbalanced diets. Learners' self-esteem and empowerment have risen the bar in political discourse, and respect for other opinions also adhered to. Mr. Chairman, while it is refreshing to know some of these amazing developments, it is perhaps uncomplimentary to realize that the division is yet to open a single class that will upload digital technology. This, for me, shows how late we are behind the clock, but we will catch up.